And let's start off with some wins. So let's get things firing up. Let's start the energy high. In the past week, in the chat, put a win that you have had. It could be in the gym, it could be nutrition wise, personal, professional, any type of win that you had. Can you hear me? Oh shit, my microphone's not even connected. Let me connect mine now. Can you hear me again? All right, cool. I did my first 5 mile hike under 2 hours. Love that. Oh, that makes me so happy. I love that. I'm going for more walks and I love it. Nice. I'm about to go for a walk after this. Just got back from a walk, my first walk since getting sick over the weekend. I'm sorry if you were sick, but I'm glad that you're feeling better. Back to my weights after a long time away from home. Yes, love. Amazing. I actually had a hiking win too this week. I went hiking. I always like to do something very active for like my birthday weekend. So I was like, what better to do than take my friends on a really steep hike? So I went on a hike and it was a lot of fun. So that's my win. I am surprised to see a new low, even eating over 2,000 calories. Love that for you. Awesome. Cool. So we'll get into it today. Let me share my screen. All right, cool. If you have any questions, feel free to unmute or put it in the chat. Unmuting is probably quicker, but either way, whichever one is fine. So today we're going to be talking about movement into a workday. This was a requested call. I personally spend most of my time right here at a desk. It's been several years doing it, and I know a lot of you do as well. And it's really not great for us. Little background on that. When I first started like working from home desk job, I had terrible posture and I really didn't realize how much these little things kind of add up. And what we want to do now is one, if you do run into aches and pains or like posture issues, we can fix it from here so that you're not dealing with this long term, or we can start doing these things now so you don't run into any aches, pains. Because I know for sure I've had the neck pains, I've had the hip pains, I've had all of the things. So yeah, we're gonna talk about that today. So movement into a workday. First, I want to talk about timing your workouts around work. So options. We can do the before, we can do the during, and we can do after. For the most part, most people don't fall into the during, but we have some people that do. And I want to give a couple pros and cons to see which one's gonna fit most for you. Especially, I have a lot of like after work kind of girls that want to transition to before. So I want to talk about a little bit of pros and cons so that you can really find what works for you. I have personally done all three of these. So before, all right, pros of this. Number one is getting it over with. So really you are just set for the day. You get it over with. You don't have any fatigue for the day. The stress is kind of like you're not really stressed. You just woke up. I mean, you have a day to go, but it's not like, damn, today really drained me. And you feel good for the rest of the day. We're gonna get into that as well if you can't go before, but obviously we want you to feel good for the rest of the day. The cons about this, how is this supposed to say before cons? Number one is shifting your sleeping schedule. This is a bitch. So when I used to be an after workout or after work worker outer or whatever, sleeping and changing to before, it took me a good like 3 weeks to shift my schedule. So if you're like falling into the pros, I want to get it over with, everything that we're talking about today, you're like, yes, before, your major roadblock, if you have time for it, the major roadblock will be the shift in sleeping schedule, and it will take time, right? Another con about working out before is showering schedule, right? If you work from home, obviously you have to kind of do that quickly. Or if you have to go to the gym and then go to work, there is a possibility that you might have to shower at the gym, and just overall timing. In the morning, you do have to be a little bit more rushed. After, you can take your time, you can walk, you can stretch, you can kind of do all of the things. All right, so again, pros and cons. Now, during, one, we could put movement into the workday, right? I feel like there's not a lot of pros in the during, because it's not very feasible for a lot of people to just kind of take an hour off from work. The cons is that it's not doable for a lot of people and you can feel rushed. I've done this, not my favorite, just because personally I just worked, so I'm a little high sprung and then I have to go back to work and it's just too much for me. But obviously there is a pro that you can get movement into the workday. My mom personally always works out for lunch and she's always done it. So she loves that. And then after, one, a de-stress from work. So work is over, I feel good, I can put all of this energy into the gym. You're also already fueled. So you have fuel in you. You were able to be very mindful with the fuel that you have, and you have more time. All right, and then the cons with this, things can get in the way. So somebody invited you out, work went long, traffic, literally anything, things can get in the way. Stress and energy from the workday. This is personally a con for me. I feel like I get very wired and get very stressed when I work. So I just don't like going after. Meal timing can also sometimes be a con. You have to like be very mindful with what's gonna sit well with me. How many hours should I eat before work, before I work out? And sometimes it can feel like it takes up more time in the day because you wake up, you go to work, and then you work out, and then you come home, you got a meal prep, and you kind of like feel like the day is over. So finding whatever works for you. Obviously, I'm biased. If you can work out before, if you genuinely can just get up at 6 a.m., 5 a.m., or whatever the case may be, I thought it was going to be the worst thing ever. But for me, getting it over with, not having that stress, being very intentional, and just like being set for the day, that really like does it for me. Just make sure that you're shifting your sleeping schedule, which is something that we can help you with. Now, let's get into your desk job movement, right? So if you do work a desk job, a couple of things. One, we always want to start your day with movement. So if you are not working out beforehand, either way, we cannot go from waking up to the desk, to the chair, to just being sedentary. One, it's not going to make you feel so good. And two, it's not really good for your body. A couple of options that we can have: 10 to 30-minute walk. It doesn't have to be 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be an hour. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant, but just 10 minutes that I wake up and I move my body sets a lot of intention for the day. If you can do 10 minutes, that's way better than doing zero. Stretching in the morning is also a good idea. You can do yoga. We can do prep band work, which I'm going to show you in a couple of seconds or a couple moments, but make sure that you are getting your body ready to work and to feel fueled. Just like when you have a healthy breakfast and then you want a healthy lunch and then you want a healthy dinner, that stuff starts to snowball. So if we start off with a 30-minute walk, you're probably going to want to have a good breakfast and then a good lunch and you want to do your workout. But whatever the case may be, if you are not working out, there has to be something involving movement in the morning. 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 45, whatever you have time for. Now, let's talk about posture. There are so many things that can go into this, right? But this is just an overall like graphic then that can help you. Now, when we're thinking of just like chair posture, right? Where I kind of went wrong in this is I used to work like very hunched forward, and I actually developed a lot of neck pain because of that. And my issue, if anybody can relate to this, I also do a lot of phone work. So when I work on my phone or when I worked on my laptop, when like I first started, right, I really was like looking down a lot and my hands were up here. And what happens with that, I started to get a lot of like neck pain and I started to get a lot of elbow pain. So if you work from your phone or if you work from your laptop, be extremely mindful of this, but this also is going to go from the computer as well. So we want to have our arms here about a 90-degree angle or a little bit greater than that. We want a straight back here. We want the chair Your chair also, the chair and the desk are 100% very good investments for your overall health. So if we can get a chair that has adjustable arms here or is adjustable here, like really be mindful with your chair. There is also, if you want to do research in terms of chairs, there is so many. Having some type of a footrest is very helpful. There are chairs that come with it. There are chairs that move with your body and like they do the most. So if you have a chair and if you're just looking what's overall best for my posture, really look into a chair. The second thing, standing desk. It absolutely changed my life. I absolutely love my standing desk. Posture wise, the chair didn't do it for me, right? So a couple of things, and we'll kind of get into like little hacks to use. The standing desk, number one is digestive health. Just being in that seated position sometimes can cause digestion to slow down, constipation, stomach aches, bloating, right? So having like a standing desk, when I switched, I noticed these digestive issues starting to happen. Like I would have lunch and I would try to go for a walk, but just like at the end of the workday, I would feel like very bloated. When I switched to a standing desk, that significantly got better. So that's number one. If you are dealing, I know some girls that have already like told me, hey, I deal with this, I deal with bloating, or like I feel like I can't adjust my lunch. I've recommended a standing desk, but if there's something that I can say, like an adjustable desk is an amazing investment. Another thing is tight hips. Being seated all day, working 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, however many hours a day that you work, this also can cause tight hips. So this used to happen to me. I used to feel like my hip flexors were very, very tight because you're in this position. So your hip flexors are in a shortened position. We're not using our glutes anymore. So it just overall, it makes sense if this is something that you can do. Personally, I like a lot of people, they're like, oh, when I get tired of sitting, I stand up. I'm a little bit of the opposite. When I get tired of standing, I sit down, but I just kind of stand all day. It makes me more productive. I feel like I have more focus and I just feel much better. So if you can do it, do that. Another thing, this is kind of like a bonus. There are these things, walking pads. So some of us have already gotten it already. Now, I actually got this idea from Linda because she just keeps it under her bed and she just like wasn't able to have a treadmill. And in the cold weather, when it's raining, like if you can't get a treadmill, you can just put this anywhere and just walk while you watch TV, whatever the case may be, if you can't walk outside. But I also found that this is very helpful for me if I have a very, very busy day. Let's say I work and then I have plans later and then like I literally can't get in my walk. And if I don't walk, I'm literally standing here all day. I pull out my walking pad. So this is an idea. I know it's not like doable for most people because you're going to the office, but if you can get a walking pad, you're not gonna be here sweating. I barely move. Like when I'm doing it, I feel like I'm moving like very slow. But again, it helps me get my steps in. It really helps my digestive. And if you feel like your whole entire day is you working, going to the gym and going for walks, which is something that I have felt, walking pad just makes it a lot easier. I got these pictures from, I think TikTok, by the way, but you can see a lot of girls are loving it. Now, what if you can't get a walking pad? Again, I know that's not doable. You probably can't take it to the office with you or whatever the case may be. You have to get a new setup, which is coming. What can I do in the meantime? So 100% just make sure you are walking before work. So unless you are doing a workout in the morning, we have to make sure that we're walking before work. I've told this to a lot of you. We aim for about 8,000 steps per day. Anything 8,000 to 12,000 steps is very, very, very good for your lifespan. So it's not like, oh, Nicole wants me to like do 8,000 steps so that I can burn my calories or like eat more, like whatever all of that is. No, I literally just want you to live longer and I want you to live functional longer. So those 8,000 to 12,000 is going to significantly improve your health. Now, when we're going for those steps, again, sometimes it can feel like you're playing step catch up, or it's the end of the day, you look at your watch, you've been working all day and you've only walked 4,000 steps. By you getting ahead in the morning, you're just making your life much easier. Again, you might have to shift your sleeping schedule. Another thing, my mom actually taught me this, is she has alarms. So every 90 minutes, she has an alarm and it just tells her to stand. So she stands, she walks around the house, and this also is very, very good for your productivity. Just naturally, we can only stay focused for so long and you need mental breaks. So sometimes we don't want to go for a walk or we don't want to pause work because you have so much work to do, but we're thinking of productivity time over actual time. It's kind of like you don't have to do more, you have to do less but better. Right, so setting those alarms is going to be very helpful. I'm an alarm girl. I have alarms for what time I have to wake up, what time I have to go to sleep, like all the things, just little reminders throughout the day. So yeah, 90-minute intervals. Another thing, if you can't get a walking pad, if you work in the office, can we park farther from the building, right? Very, very simple lifestyle habits that make a significant difference on our health. You can also take the stairs or the long way. You're going to, I don't know, wherever you eat lunch and there's an elevator, but instead you're taking the stairs, or you're doing a loop around the building, or like whatever the case may be. And you can even walk after work, but the goal is to find ways to walk, find ways to walk. Another thing with this, because like obviously I help you guys a lot, but just imagine all the things that I'm telling to my mom. I was really, really honored because she wasn't getting a lot of movement in the day. And something that she did was she started walking with her friends at work. So it was more so of like, hey, do you want to go for a walk after lunch? And it just made it more enjoyable. And then it was kind of like a group of them, and then they would go for walks, they would kind of hold themselves accountable. So if you have like a buddy that you can walk with, I think that would be a very good idea as well. Now, let's talk about exercises that you can do before, during, and after work. This is something that I started to implement again because of posture. Naturally, you're in a forward position when you're working, and there's really not so much that we can do to avoid that. The computer is in front of you, right? So want to talk about a little bit of mobility. Most of these you have seen, and if it would be helpful, we can put this in like like a Canva document and just have them all there, similar to like the quick on the go workouts, just so that you can pick. What you'll see from here is you don't have to do all of them. If you have some that like, oh, this feels really good, if you're picking 2 from each page and you're doing 5 minutes before, during, and after work, again, this is going to be significantly helpful for your overall posture and just health long term. So I have a couple here. This is a very, very good one. I know in this position, I am doing it on my bed. I'm kind of like doing the most, but you can do this on your desk. Like you can literally just put your arms, right? We want to really just open up that chest and open up those shoulders. You don't have to hold something. If you do, you're going to feel a little bit more opening up of the shoulders. But this can be something midday where you're doing this. I see Maria, she has like alarms going off every, I don't even know how often, and I look at her and she's like in this position. So whatever we can do to just make sure that we are focusing on our posture. This is personally one of my favorites, so I do this often, and I'll do it like after work. It really helps to just open me up. Another one here, again, I can, if you guys want, just let me know and I'll send you a document with all of this, right? But this is another good one. And then lastly, because I personally am somebody that dealt with a lot of neck pain, it's just making sure that we're practicing this tucked position. So I like it in this quadruped position, but also you can just do this throughout the day. So really, you're spending so much time here without realizing, but we want to focus on how can I get that chin back? And those are the muscles. You'll feel like this kind of open up. Any of these exercises, you're gonna feel like, damn, my chest is pretty tight. So if you're adding this before, during, and after work, we're gonna start to feel much better. Another things that we can start to add is band workouts. So if you have a band, I don't know where it is. I have it in my bag now. We do a lot of these, but pull aparts. If you're doing pull aparts before, during, after work, it could be all 3, it could be 2, it could be just 1, but all of these are gonna make a significant difference. So we can do band pull aparts, which are here, or we could do ones that were coming all the way open. You'll feel a big stretch here. And then another one, which you guys are probably tired of doing, because I have you do face pulls until you can't face pull anymore, but face pulls. So if you have something to tie it to, you can do this with the band as well. So you're tying it to something, a pole, something in your house, and then we're doing face pulls, but really, every exercise that I'm showing you is to strengthen your back and counteract this position that we are constantly in and start bringing you like to a more open position. If you don't have a band, there are also options that we can do in terms of, like with dumbbells. Oops, no, why? Where am I? Okay, right here. So we can do bent over flies. I probably programmed this for you before, right? We're in a bent over position, right? And we are doing it here, and face pulls as well. Nicole, I can't do face pulls, but I really like them because they feel so good on my neck, on my posture. You can do this also with some dumbbells or just bent over. You don't even have to hold anything. Like, again, this is just overall posture. So if you're doing this, you're doing 3 sets of 15 before work or whenever you're throwing these in, right? You can do it just body weight and we can go here. Right now, you guys can just do this and you'll all like automatically start to feel the difference within your posture. And then, I have 2 more. Oh, these are more body weight exercises. I absolutely love every single one of these. You've probably done them before, but we can start to incorporate these. I also don't mind if you do this as like warm-ups. I have personally, like, some days I feel like I'm just tight, and in my mobility, I'll just do something that I really like, but these are things that we can start adding throughout your day. So if you're like, what should I do before work? I want to do yoga, I want to stretch, like, pick 4 of these, 5 of these, and just kind of go 3 rounds, and that'll be an amazing way to set yourself up for the work. Lastly, with this as well, even if you're doing it after work, I think that'll be a good, we talk about buffer periods. You don't want to go straight from work to home to meal prepping, or like straight from work to work, to work out. What is something that you can do to kind of like turn off from work to turn on whatever it is that you're doing? Why not do 3 sets of 10 of like mobility, right? It'll kind of tell you, okay, work's off, and now it's time for me to kind of go into my daily life. Lastly, I've sent this to a lot of people as well who have told me that they feel their hip flexors when they are squatting, or work has me feeling super, super tight. We can start to incorporate certain hip exercises. So ideally, we are getting a stand-up desk so that we don't really have to deal with too many issues with the tight hips. But ideas that we can start to incorporate is this hip flexor stretch. You can do kickbacks with a band, without a band. Literally, sometimes I just kind of do them right here, or when I have to sit, I do them often. And then, yeah, these are overall just examples that you can do. We can go deep squats. This one I actually do very often. And then we have the world's greatest stretch and hip thrust, because if we're strengthening those glutes, those hip flexors are going to start to loosen. Now, with all of these, again, I've shown, like, I really did show you a lot of them. You don't have to do all of them. And I actually don't want you to do all of them or feel like you have to do all of them, because that means that you're gonna end up doing none of them. So just pick a couple. From each of these pages, I probably have like one of my favorites, one that feels really good and one that I'm gonna really remember, right? That's all I'm asking for you. Anything that popped up that you're like, I wanna continue doing this, just one is totally fine. 3 sets, 5 exercises, takes you about like a couple of minutes. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So this guy's really cute, by the way. Do we have any questions with any of this? Also, if you do work in an office, I think we're all kind of past this with like, oh, people are gonna look at me, or like whatever the case may be. I feel like everybody's gonna start doing what you're doing, and they're gonna ask you like, hey, what are you doing there? Like, I should do it. Let's put an alarm. Like, you'll be surprised with how many people actually want this. Because overall, we were not meant to sit all day, but unfortunately, for like the work that we do have to kind of stay put all day. So there are things that really, really have changed my life, along with my standing desk. I'll say that over and over and over again. Any questions on today? Super simple.
I did have a question, like,
Yeah.
you get up and exercise in the morning, right? And I was just curious of, I guess, the routine. Like, are you waking up immediately, putting your gym clothes on and go to the gym? Is there, I guess in my head, that's what needs to happen, and I just can't bring myself to move that fast first thing in the morning.
Yeah, so something that helps me, because I used to feel the same thing, I kind of felt pressured that I had to move fast. I give myself 10 minutes to just sit on my couch and drink water. So it's like, okay, I wake up and I kind of slow down. I have rules for myself. My phone is always on the other side of the room and I'm allowed one snooze. So I can wake up, I can snooze it, I go back to bed, but I can't move it. So if I get up again, I literally have to get up again to go and get it, and then I have to go. But what really helps me in terms of going in the morning is thinking about how much I wouldn't want to go any other time of the day. I think I'm just like, if I don't go now, I'm definitely gonna be dreading going to the gym all day. So that's like my main driver. And once I'm in the routine, it's just like, oh, this is what I do now.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. The 5 to 10 minute like chill and do water, I don't know, maybe that's just a mental thing for me. I feel like I was always like pressured that I have to get up and I have to be productive like right away. But I actually look forward to like sitting on my couch and just chilling out before I have to walk out of the door. Any other questions? We can
Can
also
I
do some.
piggyback onto what you said?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I actually went through that whole sleep schedule shift thing, and the way that I kind of just cold turkeyed it, right? I was like, okay, tomorrow's Monday, gotta wake up at 6:30, gotta make it happen. But I set myself up for success by making sure I had my gym clothes picked out the night before. And I feel that that's just such a like kindergarten, first grader type of mentality for the first day of school thing, but it helped me because I didn't know where half of my sports bras were when I was trying to go up that early. So it really did put things into perspective. And I started making my overnight oats, which I just swear by. So I had breakfast ready for when I got back from the gym. And it's just a matter of having things done that you normally have to think about in the moment beforehand. So all you have to do is just wake up and go.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I used to do the outfit thing. I wear the same things. I have like the same 7 outfits that I recycle. That's a little bit quicker, but I do that with my gym bag. And I make sure like I pack my gym bag the day before and it's very helpful too. One less thing in the morning, it's super helpful. Thank you for sharing that one.
Mhm.
Cool. Anybody else? Questions? Feedback? Anything not related to today before I let you go?
Yeah, happy birthday.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. It's my birthday all week, so you guys can get to tell me. All right, I think we're good. If you want that Canva document with all of the exercises, just send me a message. I'll send it to you. And if you need some type of accountability to make sure that you're waking up in the morning or you're doing your exercises, we'll figure out something that we can just set that habit for you. But I think this will be very helpful if you, again, 10 minutes can really change your life. We're thinking about who are you at 80 years old, and it's somebody with good posture and living life, really. So love you guys. Have a wonderful week. I will talk to you soon.